is that OGJ say, Negro, Negro, please. He's putting that season on me. Damn, that's OG. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? A lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you gon' see one and only, one and only, one and only. Don't know me because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man.
Welcome, Lady Nova.
OG. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. OG. One and only. Yeah. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's ace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man. One and only. Yeah.
Is that OGJ? Spit, Negro, please. He's putting that knowledge in. Seasons on these YouTube streets. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? OGJAYSPEED. Lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you will see. Yeah. Damn, my brother. OG, one and only, one and only, one and only. You don't own me, you don't. I'm free, I'm free. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my brother. OG, I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, why can't you see? I'm the one who's at peace. You having so many problems because you don't understand, because
cause you're not free. The ancestors died for you and me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. Negro, please, can't you see I got that African in me? African in me. You're trying to find your way, but I'm a piece. Negro, please, Negro, please, Negro, please. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe, your brother OG, OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe your brother OG, OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey.
Yes. Good evening. I didn't mean to do a show this evening. I just didn't. But then I got a news flash of the show I was going to do on the 28th. These devils are moving ahead in their schedule. I've been getting wind of this for the last 3 months. I'll give you a little background and we go get into it. I got a real treat for you all. If y'all just stay there for a minute, I got a real treat for you all. It won't be me on here just talking. I'm going to take a flash of the past and put it on screen. But I've been following this story for about the last 2 or 3 months. Yesterday, I called around from this one website that has been reporting on this story. Y'all probably let it miss you all, but I didn't let it miss me. But anyway, this brother in Africa, and I'll explain it to you after the video, kicked the French out. And it's been making a lot of European countries upset. And so just like I say, I won't go too much into this, but I'm gonna put the video on. And we gonna go from there. But this is a news story. It's almost the same as Colin Powell when he went and made that speech at the UN. To try to attack an African country when they want their own resources for the country. Young black brother. I did some shows on him about 4 months ago. But we're gonna get into the video and then I'll come back and give you the rest of the story, okay? Hope everybody's doing well. I did a show early this morning. I didn't intend to do this, but after I got that news flag, I had to do it. 3:44 in the West Coast. 6:44 in the East Coast. Hope y'all enjoy what you're about to see. It's gonna be a good one. Okay, let's get to it.
Strong hand of applause for coming out against the wicked beasts of the United Snakes of America. We are united and we will go forward. We are Unity Black Nation. Welcome to the Black Holocaust in pursuit of justice and in the memory of the worst human suffering the universe has ever known.
Let me push forward.
Differences. No matter what, we have always had. Because that brother's on the front line.
Their deeds would shame a nation of savages. That's what Douglas said. And we're losing our babies while you drown yourself in Johnny Walker Red. Is it fair? Do they care? What face do I wear?
What face do I wear?
What face do I wear?
A sister asked. A sister asked, y'all gonna trip on this. Are you into that pro-black thing? Are you a revolutionary? Are you an African? I said, come on, baby, what's the deal? That's like asking a fish, are you pro-Geo? Of course I love myself. The 3 R's never seem to help. Racist, rednecks, ruin is the name of the educational game today. And as long as they go on, I refuse to play. No longer will I stand for Washington crossed the Delaware. Columbus found America. Lincoln freed the slaves.
What?
Yo, I demand to know what Hatshepsut gave.
That's right.
TV, not me, paraded Willie Horton in front of the world, forced Kitty into rehab and scared every white girl. Negative campaigning cost Massachusetts the election. The Democrats might have won with the Jackson to Caucus connection. The liberals would laugh, then begin to shriek, while the conservatives would go home, ignoring the obvious. The farmers would ponder, then tie their knot, as they put on their sheep, drawing up the assassination plot. Is it fair? Do they care? What face do I wear?
What face do I wear? What face do I wear? Taxi, taxi, taxi.
Yo, come on, brother. He's not gonna stop for you. You're the man of a darker hue. Gave him the wisdom for the wheels to rotate, but he doesn't give a damn whether you're early or late for a meeting, appointment, or any concern. You better remember H. Rap Brown and burn, baby, burn. To hell with the flag, ain't nothing but a rag. Red, white, and blue never did a damn thing for you. So now, we must make it known. It's time for them to reap the seeds they've sown. Murder, degradation, corruption, annihilation, exploitation, all placed on the back of my great nation. But it doesn't matter how hard you try, because like the great Giza pyramid, we were born to reach the sky, glowing in an aura that sets them in awe. So when Brother Wilder won, couldn't believe what they saw. The brothers' guns in the streets will soon be put to better use. Remember that next time you burn a cross or think about tying a noose. The rise has just begun. So let it be written, let it be done. Is it fair? Do they care? What face do I wear?
What face do I wear? What face do I wear? What face do I wear? What face do I...
Brother, you wear the face of God. Hotel.
Yes, sir! Poet, Nubian scholar, founder of the Defiant Giants and Funk Video.
Wisdom and
Where in China?
educate you on. We'll go crazy. And
Greatest
box became an... They felt it necessary. Because, let's face it, the intellectual superiority claimed by those who oppress us is nothing but a big bubble. And we are fortunate enough to be living in a time when that bubble is being comprehensively burst. And that's the reason for the hysteria and the madness that we're seeing in the press every day today. That's the reason why day after day in the major media you can see Jewish columnists saying that Jews never enslaved Africans, when the record is so clear, so well documented by their own historians. Why would supposedly intelligent people paint themselves in a corner? Why would they deny the undeniable? When the evidence to the contrary is so plain for all to see. The reason is because they have underestimated us to such a degree that now that they are faced with the wrath of black intellectuals, they are forced into hysteria. Let me quote Brackman for you, and I don't care what he wrote in the New York Times, it is incredible. The ability of these folks to tell lies is absolutely amazing. Amazing, totally amazing. Sometimes I think that they are totally incapable of telling the truth. Sometimes I think that if the truth hit them in the head, they wouldn't even know what it was. Let me quote Brackman, sorry. Not Blackman, Brackman. No way he could ever be a black man. Actually, let me quote myself first in the paragraph before I quote Brackman. Here's what I said when I wrote this book. I said, Brackman probably considers his own PhD dissertation, quote unquote, hate propaganda by now. Let me go on to quote Brackman himself. Quote, there is no denying, this is Brackman now, there is no denying that the Babylonian Talmud was the first source to read a Negrophobic, that is a black-hating, a Negrophobic content into the episode. He is talking here about the curse of Noah, curse of Ham by Noah in the book of Genesis. He is saying that the Babylonian Talmud, the first. If any of you can get a hold of the letter that Brackman wrote to the various papers, go back and read it and you'll see where he is totally contradicting what he himself is saying here. He is saying here, this is Brackman now, that the Babylonian Talmud, the holy book of the Jews, is the first. There's no qualification. He didn't say one of the first, without qualification, source to inject this racist foolishness into the curse of Ham's story. He goes on to say, and here is where it begins to get really hot and heavy. Brackman goes on to say that some of these Jewish so-called sages began to embellish the story as they went along and add little frills and details. Some of them began to say that black folks became black and ugly because of this curse. Black folk got thick lips because of the curse. And black folk got bulging eyes because of this curse. Black folk got black skin because of the curse. According to Brackman, and I know people always think I'm going insane when I say this, but I'm going to quote it for you in a hurry before you think I'm going insane. But according to Brackman, these Jewish rabbinical sages even went so far as to say that black men got long penises because of this curse. This is the holy book of the Jews now. Talmud. Quote, and here I'm quoting Brackman, and again, this is the intellectual basis upon which the annihilation of 300 million or more of our people rests. This is the pretext upon which the slave trade was built. Let me quote Brackman, quote, the more important version of the myth, that is the Hamitic myth, however, ingeniously ties in the origins of blackness and of other real and imagined Negroid traits with Noah's curse itself. According to it, that is according to this myth, Ham is told by his outraged father that because you have abused me in the darkness of the night, your children shall be born black and ugly. That's the Talmud. Because Ham has abused Noah in the darkness of the night, his children, that's us, we are his children, according to this myth, will be born black and ugly. So that's the reason why we are black and ugly, because according to the Talmud, Noah cursed Ham, the African, and his children.
Yes, sir. Look at yourself, man.
Because you have twisted your head to cause me embarrassment, they shall have kinky hair and red eyes. So that's the origin of our kinky hair and red eyes. It's all there in the Talmud. Because your lips jested at my exposure, they shall swell. So if you ever wondered why black folk have thick lips, there it is. And of course, the Talmud, like any good piece of literature, leaves the best for last. It leaves the punchline for last. And here comes the punchline. And because you neglected my nakedness, they, that is the children of Ham, us, the males at least, because you neglected my nakedness, they shall go naked with their shamefully elongated male members exposed for all to see. So there you have it, the origin of the long male African penis. It's all there in the Talmud. Could it be a question of jealousy, maybe? I don't know, I'm just asking. A rhetorical question. So all of this then was the underpinning for the African slave trade, the worst Holocaust in history. The killings began in Africa itself. Lord knows how many millions of Africans died before they even reached the Atlantic Ocean. The historians tell us that sometimes Africans were marched 1,000 miles to the coast. They were held in slavery on the coast sometimes for months, waiting a full cargo for a slave ship. The historians tell us that the Middle Passage, when the Africans were shipped from West Africa to the Americas, North America, South America, Caribbean, wherever, historians estimate that perhaps 1/3 of the slaves who were still alive when they entered the ships died before they hit the Americas. 1/3, a mortality rate of 1/3. You have horror stories of slaves being thrown overboard. There's a famous case concerning a ship called the Zong, where in order to forge an insurance claim, a ship actually threw the slaves overboard and then pretended they were captured by pirates or something and made a false insurance claim because the cargo was insured. Cargo. Even the terms they used, cargo. You had the beginnings of the rape of African women on the ships. J.A. Rogers tells us that on the slave ships, the sailors would improvise harems, rape the African women. Some of the women would arrive pregnant in the Americas and would therefore fetch more money because whoever bought them were buying 2 for the price of 1. The slaughter, the Holocaust continued once the slaves hit the New World. C.L.R. James tells us that in Haiti, the average life expectancy for a slave who made it all the way to Haiti was 6 years. It was economically more viable for the slave master to work the slave to death in 6 years rather than treat the slave well, keep him or her to a ripe old age. You know, economists operate, they draw charts and diagrams and graphs and stuff. And they figured that if they worked the slave to the maximum and had the slave die in 6 years, it would be economically better for them. They would make more profits than if they let the slave live a normal life, sleep 8 hours a night, etc., live to an old age. Because once the slave lived to the old age, of course, then the slave became a charge on the slave plantation. The slave owner would have to maintain the slave beyond the capacity of the slave to work. The tortures which were visited upon our people are absolutely amazing. We all know that the whip was the normal accompaniment of the work day of the slaves. Slaves were whipped 100 times, 200 times, 300 times. Slaves were made to walk around with special collars with prongs sticking out. The idea being that they could not sleep. You had this collar around your neck with prongs sticking out. So there was no way you could find a comfortable position to sleep. No matter how you lay down, you'd be in an awkward position. Your neck would be sore and stiff. Slaves were castrated as punishment. Slaves were dismembered, had their limbs cut off, ears cut off, noses, lips cut off. Slaves were branded like animals. Slaves were often denied the right to get married, raise a family. C.L.R. James tells us of a way of destroying slaves in Haiti called burning a little powder in the ass of a nigger, where they would stuff gunpowder into the anus of a slave and blow him up. J.G. Stedman, a British writer who went to Suriname in South America in the late 1700s, he wrote about what he saw there. He saw slaves and he actually drew diagrams, pictures. He wrote about slaves being drawn and quartered, tied to a large wooden structure and just having all the bones broken with a heavy piece of iron or wood or something. The slave would be stretched out on this rack, wooden rack, and somebody would come and literally break all of the slave's bones. There's a picture drawn from life in Stedman's book, Narrative, of a 5-year expedition against the revolted Negroes of Suriname. He has a picture of a slave who was hung up from a gibbet with a hook, with a chain hanging down and a hook through his ribs. His hands tied behind his back, and he was left there to hang by his ribs until he died. He lay there for about a week. Stedman tells us about a large Jewish settlement in Suriname, a place called Jew Savannah, where the Jews proliferated as slaveholders. Stedman says the Jews in Suriname were the most cruel and wicked of all of the slaveholders. He talks about a Jewish woman who ran a red-hot poker through a slave woman and killed her. Red-hot poker. Stedman tells us about a Jewish slave owner called Schultz, who raped the mother of a young slave called Jolly Care. And the rape of mothers was a frequent occurrence in slavery, not only in Suriname, but everywhere that slavery existed. If you've ever wondered why the word motherfucker has become such a term of scorn in our community, that's the reason why. Many a young slave child had to witness because the slaves lived in little one-room cabins. And when the slave master came to rape his mother in the night, there was no privacy. Many a young slave child had to witness his mother being raped by some slave owner. And here you had this Jewish slave owner named Schultz. And Stedman tells us that Jolly Care as a child witnessed his mother being raped by this slave owner. Jolly Care grew up to become a leader of the Maroons in Suriname, who waged successful war against the white people. And as fate would have it, the time came when Jolly Care grew up to become the leader of rebellious slaves, and he was waging war against the slave owners, and he captured the same Schultz, captured him, the man who had raped his mother. And Schultz told Jolly Care, well, look, man, I remember you as a kid, you grew up on my plantation. I know you're not going to kill me now. We have a special relationship. I was good to you. And according to Stedman, Jolly Care cut off Schultz's head. He cut his head off, and he played bowls. You know, he went bowling with it on the beach. According to Stedman, Jolly Care then flayed Schultz, cut the skin off his back, and used it to keep his powder dry in his cannon. So that was at least one motherfucker who found his just deserts. So who ran the slave trade? Who perpetrated these atrocities against our people? Who committed this Holocaust against our people? Yes, we know that Arabs were involved in the slave trade. Not so much the transatlantic slave trade, more the slave trade to the east, but slave trade all the same. Yes, we know that Christians were involved in the slave trade. I don't think there's a Christian denomination that wasn't involved in the slave trade. Yeah, we know the Pope was involved. We know there were Jesuit priests in Brazil who had harems of slave women like anybody else. The fact is, however, that as far as I know, none of these people deny their involvement in the slave trade. The only people who deny their involvement in the slave trade and get indignant when you remind them of it is the Jewish element. And if I single out the Jews, it's because they have attempted to deny the undeniable. We are told that in the days of slavery, even though the Christians were the ones who perpetrated the slave trade to a large degree in this country, at the very least, they were heavily represented among the abolitionist societies. We are told that the Jews as Jews were few and far between as far as the abolitionist movement goes. And now that we, as African scholars, are trying to set the historical record right, we again run into the problem where it is the Jewish scholars and activists and columnists in the major newspapers, they're the ones who have sought to deny their involvement in our slave trade. And their involvement, as I said earlier, is well documented. The largest slave ship owner in this country was Aaron Lopez, a Sephardic Jew. Newport, Rhode Island. The second in command of the Confederacy was a Jew, Judah Benjamin, as were many of the leading members of the Confederacy. Some of the major shareholders, stockholders in the Dutch West India Company, major multinational corporation financing the slave trade with Jews. A large number of the slave ship owners, the Portuguese slave ship owners who brought slaves to the Americas were Jews. David Brinkley, and this week with David Brinkley a few months ago, discussing my case at Wellesley College, was talking some foolishness there one Sunday morning. He was saying that Tony Martin is an anti-Semite at Wellesley. He's talking foolishness. He was saying that Tony Martin is saying that the Jews brought slaves to the Americas. And David Brinkley said, he is wrong. It wasn't the Jews, it was the Portuguese. But the damn fool didn't know that it was the Portuguese Jews. They were one and the same. The results of this Holocaust in the New World are plain to see. As early as the early 1800s, African Americans were almost 20% of the population in this country. Today, African Americans are something like 12% or thereabouts. Black folk have actually declined as a percentage for a variety of reasons. Part of it is the continuing Holocaust. Part of it is the infusion of a lot of European immigrants to try and swamp the black population. And that continuing Holocaust has continued unabated even after slavery. In Africa itself, people forget that even in Africa itself, after slavery ended, the Holocaust continued as though slavery had never ended. In fact, it became worse in many areas. That's right. In the country they call the Belgian Congo, now Zaire, between 1880 and 1900, the Belgians killed about 12 to 20 million Africans in that one little country, the Belgian Congo. Where's the Holocaust Museum to those 12 to 20 million Africans killed in that one country? All right. In 20 years. In this country, we had the incredible phenomenon of lynching. From the time the Civil War ended up until fairly recently, a few decades ago, almost every single day in this country, black men, women, and children were lynched. They were burnt at the stake. I saw the photograph, as many of you saw, Brother Khalid here, in the papers this morning, with the poster of a black man being burnt at the stake. Black men, women, and children were hung from trees, from lampposts. I'll never forget the headline I saw of a Mississippi newspaper from 1919. It said, 3,000 will lynch Negro tomorrow. That was the headline. The governor of the state, Governor Bilbo, said he was powerless to stop it. That was the will of the people. What did Europe benefit from our Holocaust? The reason why Europe is preeminent in the world today, economically, militarily, is precisely because of our Holocaust. Europe's ascendancy in the world today was literally built on the blood, sweat, and tears of Africans. Eric Williams, in his famous book, Capitalism and Slavery, showed in minute detail how all of the profits that went to finance the Industrial Revolution came out of the super profits made in trading slaves and growing slave-grown sugar, cotton, and so on. The slave trade is what made Europe preeminent from the 18th century on, and Europe maintains its preeminence today because of our suffering. That's the reason why we call for reparations today. What did Europe gain from the slave trade? Europe gained raw materials. It gained a dumping ground to send its misfits. Georgia was a penal colony. Georgia was settled by convicts out of England. Australia was settled by convicts out of England. The West Indies, Columbus's first voyage, was nothing but convicts, people on death row. Those were the people who were on the ships. One of the most amazing efforts of Europe to dump its problems on us arose in this century around the effort to find a homeland for the Jews. For many years before they finally came up with Palestine, they were looking around the world and they seriously considered Uganda as a place to dump the Jews. They seriously considered Kenya. As late as the beginning of the Second World War in 1939, when the Second World War began in 1939, there was actually a Jewish delegation in what was then British Guyana in South America. And they were getting ready, in fact, they wrote a report, and they were getting ready to dump the Jews in British Guyana. If the Second World War didn't start when it did, who knows? Instead of Palestine today, it might have been Guyana. They had maps drawn where they cut Guyana in half, and they were going to give half to the Jews. So every time you see what's happening in Palestine today, you can breathe a sigh of relief and say, there, but for the grace of God, go us. Did Africans resist? Of course, Africans resisted. As I said before, the reason why we have survived is precisely because we resisted. Jolly Care resisted. Nat Turner resisted. And very often it was those slaves who had some education, who had what in the eyes of the white slave owners would have seemed privilege. Those were the slaves very often who made the sacrifice to make common cause with their less fortunate brethren. Denmark Vesey, who led one of the largest, most powerful slave conspiracies in America, was a free man. He was a free man. He put his freedom and his life on the line to go back and raise the slaves. David Walker, who wrote the most powerful indictment against slavery, was a free man in Boston, paid with his life. Nat Turner was able to read and write. He was a literate slave, one of the few literate slaves. When Nat Turner got his little group together, there was a man with him that his confessions called Will the executioner. And Nat said to Will, why do you come here? Why do you come here? And Will said, my life isn't any more dear to me than anybody else's. I'm going to strike a blow for freedom. Will the executioner. And whenever Nat himself was faltering and hesitant, it was always Will who came up behind and struck the fatal blow. In fact, in the confessions, they refer to him as Will the executioner with his fatal axe. When Nat... When Nat Turner was eventually caught, put in jail, tried, sentenced to death, a white man named Thomas Gray went and interviewed Nat Turner in the jail. And in the middle of the confessions, which this white man wrote down, it's very fascinating, but this white man, Thomas Gray, he's in the middle of these confessions, he is writing down Nat Turner's account of what happened, and he pauses and he says, I looked at Nat and I saw this black man there, in rags, fettered, getting ready to die. And I saw the resolute power in his eyes, the lack of repentance. And Thomas Gray, the white man, said, my blood curdled within me. That was the power of Nat even getting ready to die. The power of resolution, of truth, that revolutionary zeal. And Thomas Gray asked Nat, he said to Nat, aren't you sorry for what you did? They're going to kill you, they're going to hang you tomorrow. And Nat's response was not Jesus Christ crucified? Liberty or death is what Nat was talking about. Finally, let me endorse the call for reparations. Our people have suffered too much. Everybody else has gotten their reparations. As of 1985, the Jews had gotten at least $70 billion worth of reparations. $70 billion worth of reparations from Germany. And that didn't include all the billions of free grants and aid that the US government gives them every year. And that didn't include the back reparations that they paid for East Germany when East Germany ceased to be communist. So Lord knows what the figure is today. It must be well over $100 billion by today. And the great irony is that the same people who had gotten perhaps $100 billion worth of reparations for their 6 million, those were the same people who turned around and went to extraordinary lengths to prevent black people getting even the most measly, embryonic reparations. They were the people who went and entered the Pookie court case, the Supreme Court case back in 1977, the Pookie case. The Jewish organizations, the Anti-Defamation League. I prefer to call them the Defamation League because that's all they do. The ADL and the other Jewish organizations, they went out of their way in a case that did not concern them they filed what the lawyers call friends of the court briefs to argue against affirmative action quotas for black people. Here were people who had gotten perhaps $100 billion, not million, but $1 billion worth of reparations, going to extraordinary lengths to prevent African Americans from getting 2 or 3 places in a medical school by way of reparations. So clearly, justice is on our side. Like I say, we live in a very exciting time. We live in a time now where we have conquered fear. We live in a time, I believe, when, as James Brown used to say back in the 1960s, you remember he had a song, Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Say it loud. In that song, James Brown says that we demand a share. So we are at the point now where we demand a share. We are at a point now where we are no longer afraid. We are at a point now where we have buried or are in the process of burying Uncle Tom. Our liberation is at hand. The 21st century belongs to us. So let the Jews and the Gentiles rage. It doesn't matter. Yes, sir. One God, one aim, one destiny. Thank you very much.
Give it up again. Dr. Tony Martin. All right, all praises to you. Brothers and sisters, how many of you all feel that this is a good event for the university and the community? Put your hands up, this is a good event for the community. How many young students we got here, huh? All right. Well, we're happy that y'all came out. How many of y'all want me to stop organizing? How many of y'all want me to keep organizing? What we got to do now, we won't have
It is our goal to pursue the core of negativity.
Intermission for about 10. We won't have intermission.
Information with you to hopefully I can advance the reason why we're here tonight. I especially want to thank Brother Khalid for extending himself out to me today. I'm honored for the invitation, and I appreciate being amongst such good brothers and sisters. I also see as well in the audience many other outstanding brothers and sisters who on any other night would equally be as honored and as shared. I see Sister Nana Shishibi there from the Pan-African Congress. Yeah. I see Sister Mary Cox out there, attorney and freedom fighter. I see Sister Deborah 2X was down here from Baltimore. I see Brother Elder Yehuda out there. I know Brother Eric is here from the Research Brothers and Sisters from New York. Brother Steve is here from Dallas. There's people here from all the way from Los Angeles. I really appreciate the opportunity as the focus is geared towards the Black Holocaust. And of course, whenever you have a murder, you must have a murderer. There must be someone who does the murder. So now that we're looking at what was a dead body that is resurrected, we must now find out who tried to put it in a comatose state. For what you will find in all of the people who have come to stand before you as warriors, and those of you who are warriors in your own right, it is our goal to pursue the core of negativity. We have agreed that somewhere at the bottom of our problem there is a core or a main group of key individuals and institutions and organizations who have pulled off consecutively over the years negative activity against our people without retribution. Part of the failure to retribute has been lack of knowledge. Part of what Brother Malik has tried to do here today is to fill the gap and to provide our people with access to information that is denied. I think what each of these men could vouch for in their moments of greatest attack from the enemy, that in the midst of all the greatest sources, I remember Dr. Jeffries on the Donahue show pulling up every book of the hunkies he could find to relay that he didn't need dogma or rumor from the black community to verify what was being done to us. They had in their own arrogance
and braggadocious nature, they had said all the things we needed to say, and the brother stood there with the evidence. And I remember Brother Tony Martin standing moment after moment, bringing up the names of those people, institutions, historically and current, in his attack on the people who have attacked him. And he knows there was a point when they looked at him and said, you know, it really ain't about the facts. You see, what you have witnessed in the spirit of the scholar, because it alleged that we lacked the knowledge or the information of the fingers on the points of the people who were doing it, was that when the scholars arose with the information, they and I and others found out that they really weren't interested in the truth. It was bigger than that. Just we took the gray area out of the attack and found out that their attack wasn't based on fact. They were, in fact, the haters they were calling us. I recently had the honor of just leaving the University of Illinois, where I went back for free to retaliate against whites who had attacked me. I don't very often talk to whites. I do not talk to the media. I do not entertain some of the ones I see here today. And as a strategy, one of our cameras must get a picture of all those who are here to take pictures of us. That must happen. We must have always accessible the pictures and the profiles. When Dr. Collard pointed out that Richard Cohen was in the front row, that's when he left. Finger pointing and naming the names does have a way of moving the enemy. So I had the honor, after spending 2-3 hours of dropping Carol Quigley and talking about the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberger Group and the Skull and Bones and the Rhodes Scholars and the Boule, the little Jewish students the next day went to the newspaper and said that Coakley must have got his information out of Mein Kampf. But no, those were good white scholars because, as I've always said, because we've been so indoctrinated, we know it takes a good white scholar to prove to our people that the truth is the truth. Us saying it has never been enough, and we bore that burden in spite of that, and still, it wasn't the facts. So if it isn't the facts, then it must be the force. I salute you in the spirit of the Bogard, because the facts will back up the rationale, but it'll be the Bogard that will put it in force. I'm on just quickly tonight to try to add a few names and a few insights. I'll be here again on June 3rd with the trial of the oath takers. I've chosen to attack the oath takers because as I've gone from city to city and attacked the Greek connection, I found out that there were oaths and rituals that people absolved their faith to and support that prohibited them from being ultimately loyal to black people. These oath takers are really not personal, they're institutional. And the Army takes an oath, the lawyers take an oath, the doctors take an oath. These oaths, and only in rare case like a good lawyer like Mary Cox and a strong doctor like Dr. Aline, who would break the oath to defend their people first and foremost. These are rare moments in our community, but the oath takers are a part of our enemy structure. I know Dr. Collard isn't here now, so I'm gonna save my opening for the close because it's something very personal for him. As I began to come out of college and fight against, I always wanted to be a freedom fighter. You know, there's no spot in our community called freedom fighter. And everybody, if you ask them if they had the choice, if they could fight for their people all day and all night, that this would be one of the most honorable things a person of our race would want. But there is no position called freedom fighter. For the right to fight for black people is something that you have to do, as some would want you to think, after you got through working for someone else. But time has passed and the way has been made that more people have come across on their own. But when I first started out in the black community in Chicago, I was offered a job at an organization. It was called the Jewish Council on Urban Affairs. It was headed by a white man named Milt Cohen, who recently died, and a white woman who is still active in Chicago named Jane Ramsey. I say that because every time we say a name in front of the hunkies who are here to report on what we say, tomorrow they will report to those people that their names were mentioned, and this is the type of tension we need to put on the enemy. You might not know all who they are, but they'll spend some time defending them tomorrow when we've called their names in front of you. So that will make the offense spend some time defending the things that they have come to offend us about. But what I found out was that the black community in Chicago was being watched. that the only way you could effectively pull off a Holocaust on a group of people in the now society is to try to watch the emergings of them, the organizing and coming together of them, the projection of values and strength by them. Those are the things that the enemy sticks his thermometer deep down into our tongues and up our butts to find out when it is and what it is they think they can pull off. In Chicago, I found this early warning system. It was funded by the United Way. So today I suggest to you, if you're gonna stop the Black Holocaust, you're gonna have to stop the good hands of the United Way. I say that because, and listen, I'm going fast, so we don't have no time for applause. I bring the United Way up because it was the United Way that formed an early warning system, which is what the spy thing is called, an early warning system. Our eyes and ears are listening post, these adjectives. And this early warning system had formed a coalition which was to monitor what was going on in the black community of Chicago. And they went out and empowered 25 organizations to be snitches against the wishes of black people. And even though the goal of this project was to monitor developing racial tension and to take advanced intervention when necessary, listen to the language, they only watched black people. But deep inside the early warning system, I saw people from the Urban League, I saw people from the NAACP, I saw Operation Push, I saw the United Church of Christ, I saw many people who I got slightly confused by because I didn't understand why any 18, 20, 30, 50, or $100,000 was worth a person crossing their own people unless they felt that their own people didn't know enough about how they did the damn spying to fear the people catching them. So I started off with a little 2-page document that started to describe how the Anti-Defamation League, and this is, I found them in '79. They got caught in 1992, but I caught them in '79. It just took a long time for the people to believe that Brother Coakley was as credible as the district attorney in San Francisco. And each and every one of these brothers up there, I saw huge, extensive profiles of Dr. Collett in that 900-page document that the white district attorney of San Francisco had to turn in to a black judge, to get the right to raid their offices. And when they asked them to raid the offices in Los Angeles to find where this information was duplicated and located, the black police chief wouldn't assume his own authority and transact the raid. They had to call in police from another district because the black man didn't want to defend the names that he saw in the list. And even though there were some whites in there were names of black people like those up here who wasn't worth him going to defend. Reason I say that is that we're pretty mad at the white guy, but the white guy we might not see to the last moment. In fact, I had this dream, this fantasy. We got Rockefeller over here, we got Oppenheimer over here, we got Rothschilds over there, and we got the noose right here. And the crimes that had been read out before the people. And I know it was a little white guy here from Australia. He said, "You Steve Coakley?" I said, "No, he went that way." But I turned to the brothers in the back I was talking to and I said, "You see, that guy, he come over here from Australia because the reason he want to know is that his godfather is Harry, Ernest, and what's the other Oppenheimer? Harry Jr. Those are his godfathers. So when we stand up and say that the man who helped today enslave New Zealand and enslave Australia and enslave all of Africa is led by the Oppenheimer family, yes, they will come from the BBC and the CBC and the Australian news to hear that the names of the hunkies who have hidden for so long are now on the street in D.C. They're on the street in L.A. They're on the street in Kansas City and Detroit, and the little people have decided that the big ones are not going to make it. So I want to say a name or two so that the whites will go away and effectively spread the cancer to the others that we mentioned their name. Now, there was a case that the Anti-Defamation League had spied on the brothers and sisters, even 12,000 people in organizations. But what you don't know is how it was that the case was settled that the Anti-Defamation League did not get criminally violated. There are some weird white people out here, and I want to tell the whites that there are whites who are leaking information about them every day to people who they believe have the courage to use it. And whites had made claim that the Anti-Defamation League of the United States works right through the National Security Council. And when I did a little check over at the National Security Council, and I remember when they said they were spying on Chris Hani when he came over here, and I tried to figure out what the connection was, Then I looked up and found that the head of the African desk of the National Security Council is a white man who's named David Steinberg. Now, David Steinberg's name ain't never been mentioned in the history of the black community since he done took that position. He know that. But today we introduce his name into the arena as a group of people whose names must never be forgotten, and you should take the time to look him up in your phone books so that you know where he lives, where Jim Woosley lives, who heads the CIA. Where does Warren Christopher live, who runs the State Department? The CIA jams Africa through the embassies in Africa, and that's where they hide the CIA. So Warren Christopher and the Deputy Secretary of State, Strong Talbot, and Peter Tarnoff, the former president of the Council on Foreign Relations, who's the third in command at the State Department, those names should be in the forefront of you, as well as Winston Lord's name, as well as David Ross's name. And of course, I want to repeat again David Steinberg, because it was him who got the Anti-Defamation League out of that criminal case when they spied on other people. Two things I want to leave you with. One is on July 8th to July 15th, Brother Coakley is having a conference in Baltimore. And the reason he's having the conference in Baltimore is because it appears as if there was a mistake made by the Hyatt Regency Hotel in the harbor there, and it looks like Brother Coakley and the Boule, Sigma Pi Phi, are gonna be having a convention at the same time, July 8th to July 15th in Baltimore, Maryland. Stop now, stop. Don't waste my time. And how many of you, since LA is coming, Detroit is coming, Chicago's coming, they have the furthest to come, it will cost them the most to get here, but the key to the bottom 10, for the first time in the history of our race, brothers, the bottom 10 is gonna meet the top 10. And I know, I done drew out a lot of strange occurrences on this, because everybody don't want everybody to know how clear the top 10 works on behalf of protecting the hunky. But we have resolved the riddle of their Grecian Sphinx, and now the day has come that the bottom 10 must confront the top 10 to protect the safety and sanctity of the race. This must happen. How many of you would be willing to come to the Hyatt Regency in Baltimore during this 10-day period? All right, stop. I'll be downstairs. I'm in a booth downstairs. We can talk about that. My tapes are down there, and the other vendors down there ask that we make sure that they know, that you know they're down there, and they need your support too. Last thing, it would be a great remiss if we didn't take our chance to put on the record that we wanted to enforce some retaliation against the enemy. And around this country, in fact, just 2 weekends ago here, the Republic of New Africa, which I was on a forum with, in fact, with Brother Chokwe Lumumba, they ratified a resolution that I proposed, which was for economic sanctions against non-black businesses for the months of November, December, and January. This must be. Now, I've been attacked right here in the black press for suggesting that in Washington by the Negro element in African clothes, but that's all right. Stop now. But I need you to understand that when the hunky walk away and he said, well, what did they say they were gonna do? He writes it down. Sometimes that's the vaguest of all the lists. We must, and I ask you to ratify a resolution that calls for economic sanctions against non-black businesses for those 3 months, because that's the months that 60% of all goods are sold. And if we were ever to punish the whites, this is something anybody can do. All you gotta do is hold your pockets. You don't even have to say nothing. You don't have to believe in it. You might not be spending nothing no way. At least take pride now in not being able to do it. So I hope all of you would be willing to do that, so that when they go away, they know it's some economic retaliation on the buffer. And in closing, the New York Times, almost a year ago today, April 18th, 1993, Sister Nana, openly advocated the recolonization of Africa, and I want to say fuck them just to that, because, stop, because the audacity of trying to draw question about our brother and his statements about Africa, when in fact you were on the record a year ago yesterday. Colonialism is back, and not a moment too soon. Some countries are not yet fit to govern themselves, and then they end by saying, we gonna get Africa. So I know that, brother, you stepped on a wire of theirs that they didn't really want attention being focused on, but we want to let them know that we have not forgotten them, and that we know them with the Council on Foreign Relations, Foreign Affairs, openly advocating a year ago today, we're gonna make Africa beg to be recolonized. I don't know if you know about the past Holocaust, but you better dig in and get ready against this now one. There's some now people who feel so arrogant and so alone that they can openly do this just with whites and think we're not listening. So we'll put the pressure on them. And one last thing. Brother Khaled, do you remember when we were in Atlanta at the Revolution 101 conference? And at that conference, we were sitting down and looking at the Anti-Defamation League's attack on black leaders. Brother Jeffrey's in there, Brother Martin will be in the next one, Brother Malik gonna be in the next one. But when we looked at that report, you looked at me and you said something that I mentioned to almost every audience I go to because it touched me personally. You said, brother, you were looking for your name. And you was looking, said, damn, I ain't got but 2 paragraphs. You know, we were talking. And now he said something that was very heavy. He said, one day my son is gonna look at me and say, Daddy, why you only got 2 paragraphs in the destruction of the enemy? And he looked at me and he said, brother, shit, I got to do better than this. He did. Well, brother, I know that Brother Malik and Brother Martin and Brother Jeffries and you too, Brother Khaled, you have made your sons and your daughters proud. You have earned your spurs against the enemy. Thank you.
Once again, Brother Steve Pookie. All right. Well, we're going to take a 10-minute break for intermission. There's food.
The boy said is our reality now. But that which occurred in Europe, the sanity, you see it in a cultural event dispensing. They have a statue.
Are we ready now to receive the sword? The man who was repudiated by the president, repudiated by the vice president, repudiated by the House, repudiated by the Senate, repudiated by some handkerchief head buck dancing Negroes. But he has been repudiated and denounced, but we announce Brother Khaled and say who he is. He's a freedom fighter. He's a soldier. He's a warrior. He's a scholar. We love Dr. Khalid Muhammad. We back Dr. Khalid Muhammad. We always want to continue to hear from Dr. Khalid Muhammad. As we sat and we had dinner last night with the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, who was visiting in town, he told us that we were winning this war on all fronts. And he told us to continue the work that we were doing. So Brother Khalid is now more popular than ever. The white man made a big mistake by jumping on this bald-headed black man, because this black man now will become more loved and endeared than ever. Are you ready to hear from Dr. Khalid Muhammad? Are you ready to hear from the baddest bald-headed black man on the 196,940,000 square miles of the planet Earth? Let us bring on our brother, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the sword. Receive him.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of all the world. I bear witness that there is but one God, whose spirit and power and force came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. And we thank that one God for raising up his messenger and his Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank the two of them for the man who is anointed and appointed for this hour of our resurrection and our rise, the champion of the liberation and salvation of the black nation. I speak of none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, in the name of Master Farad Muhammad, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I greet you, my beloved and beautiful black sisters and brothers and others, with the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Alafia. Free the land. What's up? And black laws for all black people. It is indeed my honor to be a part of history. It is indeed my honor to be a part of us writing history here tonight at Howard University, and to be the guest of Unity Nation, headed up by that great student warrior. He's not selling drugs. He's not a young man who can be found in the highways and byways of America, actually involved in crime that the white man has set up for young black men and women to participate in. But he's a freedom fighter. He's a young student that is standing up for the liberation of his people and fighting for his people's resurrection and rise. Unity Nation now catching on all across the nation. Student organizations represented here tonight from Texas, from California, from Georgia, from throughout the Midwest and throughout the Eastern Seaboard. And so to be a part of this evening at this Black Holocaust Memorial, to Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, our host, to Dr. Tony Martin, Dr. Steve Coakley, Dr. Leonard Jeffries, to the representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in this city of Washington, D.C., Minister Sean Muhammad, to our regional minister, Dr. and Minister Arif Muhammad, a graduate of the Howard University Law School, to that great fighter who has laid a foundation in this area, Minister and Dr. Aleem Muhammad, to Minister Fariz Hadi, representing the Honorable Silas Muhammad. I don't know if he is present, but our great elder, Dr. Robert Brock, Brother James Cameron, Sheikh Shabazz, Brother Duno, and others who have fought for us in this great struggle. In the Hall of Remembrance of the Jewish Holocaust Memorial, as my young son Farrakhan, who is seated here, give him a black hand, Brother Malik, and Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz and others who were with us as we stood in the Hall of Remembrance of the Holocaust Memorial. Thank you, son. We read the inscription on the wall of the Hall of Remembrance of the Jewish Holocaust Memorial. And let these words be imprinted on our hearts and in our minds here tonight. Only guard yourself and guard your soul carefully, lest you forget the things your eyes saw, and lest these things depart your heart all the days of your life. And you shall make them known to your children and to your children's children. I say the same for what you have heard and seen and will see here tonight. These esteemed scholars who have come before me, they have busted the statistics and dropped the realistics, and now I'm gonna kick the ballistics. We set forth here tonight that the Black Holocaust is 100 times worse than the so-called Jew Holocaust. Why do we even need to make a comparison? Because it was the old no-good President Buck-Tooth Jimmy Carter who stepped out and stepped forward when they were beginning to prepare to build the Jewish Holocaust Memorial. It was Jimmy Carter who said that it was the most unspeakable crime in the history of all time. He made a statement of comparison. When we deal with General David Eisenhower, General David Eisenhower made similar statements that we read and we saw on the walls of the Jewish Holocaust Memorial yesterday, making the world to believe that this was the most overpowering crime and atrocity against humankind in the history of all times. Everyone has come and said that it is the worst Holocaust that has ever existed, but all of a sudden when we come out on you, you now back down and claim that you never made a comparison. Well, tonight I'm going to make a comparison. We're going to lay the case out and see which Holocaust is the most dreadful, which Holocaust is the most vicious and bestial Holocaust, most bloody Holocaust ever recorded in the annals of time. But you want to deny us because you owe us reparations and you don't want to pay up today. The so-called Jew Holocaust. And I say so-called Jew because he's not a real Jew. He's a Johnny-come-lately Jew who just crawled out of the caves and hills of Europe just a few days ago. So you're not even the real Jew, buddy. The so-called Jew Holocaust lasted, you with me? Because I got to drop this stuff tonight because I'm a truth terrorist. I'm a knowledge gangster. I'm a black history hitman. I'm a lie killer, urban gorilla. I gotta be a roughneck. Gotta be a roughneck. It's the only way I know to go. The Jew Holocaust lasted 10 years. But the Holocaust of the black man and woman lasted over 500 years. Let's look at it. 1 10 years, 1 500 years. Maybe I'm a little confused. Maybe I'm too much of a racist. Maybe I'm too much of a bigot and an anti-Semite when I'm really none of that. But maybe just by chance, 10 years is greater than 500 years. Let's kick the ballistics. You say you lost 6 million, and we question that. You say you lost 6 million, but for the sake of argument, we'll give you 6 million. We lost over 600 million lives in the the black Holocaust over the past 6,000 years and over the past 400 to 500 years. In specific, maybe I'm a little bit confused. Maybe I'm too big a racist or an anti-Semite or a bigot. And maybe somehow 6 million is greater than 600 million. That possibility is there. You have your Schindler's List, which is really a swindler's list. Because you were involved in the slave trade. You were involved and you don't want to actually accept your involvement because you too want to escape reparations. You want to escape reparations and what is due the black man and black woman. Let's look at it. You talk about the death marches. My guide was a very nice lady, Miss Sarah Bloomfield. She worked very closely with my son, Farrakhan, and I as we were there. We listened to Miss Bloomfield closely and carefully. We didn't go in for a show. We went in to study. We went in to do research. It wasn't a media event. We didn't even allow the media to go in with us so they would be following us around, looking at us at everything we were trying to feel and study. My son and I, we looked. Yes, we were sensitive to what we saw, pain and suffering. We're the chosen people of God. We are a spiritual people by nature, and we feel the pain and suffering of any people anywhere on the face of the planet Earth, even the people who helped to put us in this condition. So maybe we need to reevaluate that. My son looked at some of the Germans killing the Jews, so-called Jews, and he said, "This is sick, Daddy." And as we looked at it, feeling that, we saw where you talked about the death marches, where the Jews were forced in mass to move from one camp to the next camp, from one ghetto to the next ghetto. But what about the death marches in Africa? What about the sons and daughters of Africa put on desperate death marches for economic gain and financial purposes as we were marched hundreds of miles, some of us dying in the heat of the sun, trying to move us from the East Coast to the West Coast, trying to move us from Southern Africa back to a coastal area, or from the northern region to a coastal area. What about the massive death marches that took our lives on the African continent? They said that by the summer of 1942, there were over 400 ghettos. We question that. That the Jews were forced and confined into over 400 ghettos. Well, you might have 400 ghettos in just one state, one county. You are removed from your ghettos of Warsaw and Krakow. You are removed from your ghettos, white Jew. But these, the sons and daughters of Africa, we are still in the ghettos of white America to this very day that we sit here tonight. We are still in our ghettos. You talked about how they had to build overhead sidewalks, that Jews were not allowed to walk with the Germans. They built overhead sidewalks. Well, the black man and the black woman, we were not allowed to walk on the same sidewalk with the cracker. When old snuff-dipping, tobacco-chewing, salt-chewing, overall-wearing Peckerwood was on the sidewalk, we had to jump out in the street and let the Peckerwood walk on the sidewalk. They even had what was called laughing barrels. If we were talking and something was funny to us, we couldn't even laugh openly. We had to go and open a barrel up. I've seen some of them in Charleston, down in the Carolinas, and stick our head down in the barrel and laugh so that when we came back up in the presence of white folks, we were straight-faced. Let's look at it. You've built your Holocaust memorial. Cost over $200 million. That's what Brother Dr. Brock is talking about. That's what Brother James Cameron is talking about in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, who is working to set up the Black Holocaust Museum there because of what happened to him and all of our people, but him in the summer, the month of August of 1930, where he was with his two friends, 16, 18, and 19, accused of raping a white woman, which they did not do. You've seen the picture of the brothers hanging there. And Brother James Cameron was the one of the three that escaped the hangman's noose. And now he is now setting up the Black Holocaust Museum in Milwaukee, and we should work to help him set it up, and we should set them up all over America. $200 million to set up your African Holocaust Museum, because the space should be ours. The 2 million should be ours. That's the point I'm making. It should be our African Holocaust Museum. But you, with a swindler's list, have swindled us, have stolen our birthright. And now our African Holocaust Museum, you claim it. They told me that you get $21 million yesterday, they said, a year, just for operating expenses alone. $21 million from the government of the United States of America just for operating expenses. Every year, your Holocaust, you say, took place in Germany, took place thousands of miles from here, but no museum, no Holocaust, no 200 million, no 21 million, not even $1,000, not $1 has been put aside. And our Holocaust took place and is still taking place right here on this soil, here in the hills of North America. You say you were herded away in boxcars. Where's the photo? Bring it around, Brother Steve. You were herded in boxcars. We were brought in the holds of slave ships. You say it was 1619, but white folks do lie. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teach us that we came here in the year 1555. We didn't come on the Nina, the Pinta, nor the Santa Maria, not that way. And we didn't come on the Mayflower. We didn't land at Plymouth Rock. We got hit in the head with the damn rock. We came in the holds of ships to be made burden bearers for white America, stacked and packed like sardines in a can and like cockroaches in a Coke bottle. We lost over 150 to 200 million black lives just in the Middle Passage, just coming over between Africa and America. We have not only experienced a Holocaust, but we have paid a hell of a cost. I didn't come here tonight to be soft at a Black Holocaust observance. The white folks and the so-called white Jews, you've gotten me busted. And I accept the discipline and the judgment of my spiritual father, leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. There is no division in the Nation of Islam. I follow a divine chain of command. I'm saying, whoop, there it is. There it is. I follow a divine chain of command. But you've gotten me busted. So I'm no longer national assistant, no longer national spokesman, no longer national representative, no longer even a minister in the Nation of Islam. So nothing I say now can you attempt to use against God's man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. None of my words can you attempt to use against him. You took a calculated risk that I would turn on my teacher. 30 years ago, we played out this same history with the history of Minister Malcolm X. El Hajj, Malik El Shabazz, Brother Omar Wali, and the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad during the 60s. But the 6 is a 9 turned upside down. And these are the 90s. We're going to turn the 6 of the 60s right side up in the 90s and put a positive period behind that history of Elijah and Malcolm. There is no Malcolm without Elijah, and there is no Khalid without Farrakhan. Make no mistake about it. So you've gotten me busted. But you can't use my words against my teacher and my spiritual father anymore. And you've gotten me busted, and now I'm gonna go buck wild on your behind. I'm not giving you no kind of break today. All praise is due to Allah. Going buck wild on you today. Go ahead. Free me up here. Free me up here. I'm gonna be like a pit bulldog. And you know when a pit bulldog bites you in your backside, and that's the way I'm gonna be on the Jew, that's the way I'm gonna be on the rest of these peckerwoods and crackers. I came here tonight to be strong. I didn't come to lighten up, I came to tighten up. Didn't come to pin the tail on the donkey, I came to pin the tail on the honky. That's why I'm here tonight. All praise is due to Allah. All praise is due to Allah. Good evening. This is the truth hour. And don't you touch that dial. You stay tuned in to the truth hour. I'm gonna lock my jaws in the backside of these no good imposter perpetrating the fraud Jews behind and the rest of these crackers behind. And you know when a bulldog bites, his jaws lock. And only Farrakhan has the keys to unlock these jaws. Only Farrakhan has the keys to unlock these jaws. Before it's over, you will go to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and beg him to put me back on post. Gee whiz, golly gee. Farrakhan, can you get him back on post? Get him off of us, Farrakhan, please. Because I don't give a damn about you. I don't care about these damn cameras. I don't care about your newspapers. I don't care what you say about me. I was born to give you hell from the cradle to the grave. That's what I'm born for. All praise is due to Allah. Not only will the so-called imposter Jew beg the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, not only will the other white folks beg him, but these half-baked, half-fried, boot-licking, butt-licking, butt-dancing, bamboozled, punkified, sissified, pasteurized, homogenized niggas and Uncle Toms will beg him too before it's all over. Oh, bootlicking Major Owens. Oh, bootlicking Charlie Rangel. Oh, bootlicking, buck dancing, scratching, shuffling, messy Jesse Jackson. You keep. I am a somebody. I am a somebody. So keep hope alive. I am a somebody. I don't rightly know who the hell I am, but I am somebody. I am a somebody. Jesse Louis Jackson, you can't serve two masters, Jesse Jackson. You're a brilliant black man. We love you, Jesse Louis Jackson, but you gotta stop boot-licking and butt-licking and buck-dancing and bending over to give evil an opening. What after NAFTA? What after NAFTA, except more white folks' laughter? green eggs and ham. Green eggs and ham. I am Sam. Damn. Black people put in slavery. They robbed us of our names, our language, our religion, our culture, our God, our folkways, our mores. Robbed us of the very power of our own being. No Jew on the face of the planet Earth can say that you were robbed of your name, your language, your religion, your culture, your God, your folkways, your mores, your norms. If you do, you're a damn liar. And as Jesus said, the truth is not in you. You make me sick. Always got some old crinkly wrinkle cracker that you bring up talking about this is one of the Holocaust victims. Dr. Jeffries is a Holocaust victim. My son Farrakhan is a Holocaust victim. Dr. Tony Martin is a Holocaust victim. Our brother, what's your name, brother? Brother who? Brother Jackson Bay is a Holocaust victim. Minister Sean is a Holocaust victim. God damn it, I'm looking at a whole audience full of Holocaust victims. All of you, you and you and you and you and you, all of you are Holocaust victims. Every last one of you is a Holocaust victim. No good, dirty, low-down bastards. Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. See ya. See ya. And I wouldn't want to be ya. That's the way we have to be. You have to give these bastards hell, every last one of them. And there will come a time when we won't even allow you to come in the goddamn door. We'll run you out of here with your cameras and everything. We will run you down the streets of the cities of America. Watch me. We look at them participating in the Black Holocaust in South Africa. Damn it, blood can be flying everywhere. And here's some cracker with a camera right in the middle of all of it. A body falling to his right, a body falling to his left, and this cracker's there with a camera. There'll come a time when we'll make you run off and leave these damn cameras. I don't care nothing about them. Your problem is you're too weak-hearted, you're too chicken-hearted. Some of us, not all, but some of us. I don't teach my baby about no Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks was the one who first to die in the American Revolution. The nigga should have died. I teach him about Nat Turner. I teach him about Denmark Vesey. I teach him about Gabriel Prosser. I teach him about Toussaint Louverture. I teach him about Henrik Christoph. I teach him about Gasoline the Ferocious. I teach him about Will the Executor. I teach him about Bookman. I teach him about Nzinga. I teach him about Kandase. I teach him about Queen Ya Asantewa. I teach him about the warriors and the freedom fighters. I teach my baby about Colin Ferguson, who caught the New York Railroad train just a few days ago. And I'd say to every one of you, if you leave Colin Ferguson in that jail to be beat up by these crackers, and now it has come out by some of the black officers that this happens all the time, where they set black inmates up in these jails and penitentiaries, and in particular there in Nassau County, and pulled all the black officers out and the black inmates so they could jump on Brother Colin Ferguson because they were mad with him for catching the Long Island train and killing all them white folks. I love Colin Ferguson. I have no official position, so I can say I love him. I love Colin Ferguson. And I say to every one of you with your red, black, and green, your kente cloth, your gele, your grand booba, if you will denounce and repudiate and condemn Colin Ferguson, you should never utter the name of Nat Turner again from your mouth, because Colin Ferguson is a modern-day Nat Turner. He didn't get on that train of his own. God put him on that train. God spoke to Nat Turner. God spoke to Denmark Vesey. God spoke to Colin Ferguson and say, I want you to catch the Long Island train today. Let the church say amen. Let the church say amen again. Let the church say amen one more time. God spoke to Colin Ferguson and said, catch the train. Catch the train. Catch the train today, Colin. The train going to Long Island. God sends tornadoes. Is that right? God sends hurricanes. Is that right? God sends earthquakes. Is that right? Well, that day God sent Colin Ferguson. Is that right? God sent Colin Ferguson. If your Holocaust lasted 10 years and ours lasted 500, how can you compare, buddy? If you lost 6 million and we lost 600 million, that's 100 times more than you. How can you compare, buddy? Huh? If you never lost your name, your language, your religion, your culture, your God, your folkways, your mores, your norms, and in most cases they haven't lost your mind the way we have, how can you even compare? You are so arrogant. We wouldn't even have to have this kind of discussion if you would just act like a human being. But you can't act like a human being. You can't even act like a human being. We looked at white Germans killing white so-called Jews and other poor white Europeans. Poor meaning poor. We said, man, if the white man will kill another white man like that, if the white man will kill a white baby like that, if the white man will kill a white woman like that, hell, we don't stand a chance. If he will do his own like that, we don't even stand a chance. While we were there, I tried to separate Hitler from the rest of white folks. Yes, I did. For a moment. For a moment, I tried to say that Hitler was just some freak of nature, that he could be set apart from other white people. But then I said, look at this. Where's the other one? Bring it out, Brother Steve. 4 black men. They would sell tickets to burn us alive. They had raffle tickets to determine who would get the ear, who would get the big toe from the right foot, who would get the little toe from the left foot. And this freakish, no good, peckerwood cracker white man, they all fought over the male organ as to who would take that home. Don't lie and say you didn't. It's the same with your no good, freakish rabbis. I read it in the Jerusalem Post. I call out any of your scholars. I saw the little cracker that was in here a little while ago. What was Richard Cohen? Ran out of here like a screaming, flaming faggot. You hide behind these newspapers. I'm sorry, these Jews papers. You hide behind these Jews papers in these Jews rooms that you call newsrooms. And so you have the evening 6 o'clock, the 5 o'clock Jews, news. And the 10 o'clock Jews, news. You want to hide. We call you out to debate. Give us your best minds. Give us the best so-called Jew you got. Give us a whole team of them. Give us a whole forum with nothing but your best mind. But you run from us. You hide from us. And I say to every black man in this audience, when the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gives the call sometime within a year or so for 1 million black men to converge on Washington, D.C., not to sing "We Shall Overcome," every black man should be here. And black woman, if you got a black man who won't go, you should make sure he gets out of the house. You should make sure that he answers the call. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I was in there honestly because of the spiritual qualities that are in the black man and black woman, God's chosen people. It operates in the revolutionaries, the freedom fighters, the revolutionary scholars, the revolutionary warrior students. It operates in all of us. I was actually trying to set Hitler apart from other white folks. But then I realized that I just couldn't do it. I say they sold tickets. They had excursions, caravans, train rides to see a major sporting event. A nigger lynched today. 2 niggers lynched today. 3 niggers, 4 niggers lynched today. Billie Holiday would sing the song, or Bessie Smith, one of them, about trees in the South with a strange fruit with blood at the root. This is the strange fruit. The black man, black woman, Billie Holiday. Take pregnant black women, bring them out in front of other black women, strip them naked. There in the Holocaust, you can stay right there, brother. Right in the Holocaust Memorial, they had piles of shoes, as though I was supposed to be impressed. And they said, well, over in Germany, we have just rooms full of shoes. They took all of the personals of these people from them. Wasn't that cruel? I said, God damn it, we didn't even have shoes. You can't pile no shoes up in a room for us because we didn't even have shoes. When they took us from Africa, they stripped us of our diamonds and our gold and our silver, our material resource, our spiritual resource, and our human resource. And when we came here, most of the time we didn't have shoes. We went barefoot. Huh? Stripped the black woman of whatever little tattered rag she had. 9 months pregnant. Tie her up. Tie horses to one leg, horses to the other leg. Beat the horses, make them run in opposite directions until they rip and pull the black woman apart and the unborn black baby fall from her, and a no-good cracker would bring another black woman out, her stomach full 9 months with the fruit of her womb, take his knife and stick it in her full stomach with the roundness of her stomach, rip it open and stick his AIDS, syphilis, gonorrhea hand inside and snatch the unborn black baby from her, throw it to the ground and crush the baby's head with his boot heel, and make other pregnant black women watch so that the adrenaline of fear would course its way through her veins and bathe her brains and touch the unborn life in her, hoping that the babies would be born afraid of a wicked, cruel slave master. Look at this no good bastard. And some of you want to integrate with him. I believe in freedom and independence. I believe in separation and independence. A nation of our own. That's right. A nation of our own. That's the book. Some of you don't want to go nowhere. You want to stay right here with the white man. Freedom and independence. If the founding fathers of America could call for freedom and independence under conditions that were nowhere near the conditions that we have been and are operating under today, why can't we call for freedom and independence, our own flag, our own nation, our own government, our own laws? But most of you just want to intellectualize the subject. You think we can read our way out of this. You better read, but you better get up and get ready to get free. Most of you want to sing, we shall overcome. You better add another stanza, we shall overrun. Lift every voice and sing, but you better lift every fist and swing too. At the same time, if we're going to gain freedom and independence. I'm a soldier. I was born that way. I don't care about nothing else but that. But aren't you afraid that you are going to get killed? Jesus, the black revolutionary Messiah, said, he or she who seeks to save his life shall lose his life. He who is willing to give his life or her life shall save their life. But I don't want to die for the cause. I'll kill for the cause. It's the only way we'll get free. But we got a mighty God that is backing us up today, sending irregular rain, snow, hail, and earthquake, and confusing the government of the white man and the minds of the white man. The Catholic Church admitted their role in slavery. The so-called Jews want to lie. We just were 2% of the population. Don't make no difference what percent you were. 75% of you, 2/3 of you, according to your own Jewish census takers and statistics, were involved in the slave trade. I didn't say 75% of all the slaves were owned by the Jews. I said 75% of the Jews owned slaves. But you put a spin on it and a twist on it to make it seem ridiculous because you're just a liar and the truth is not in you. As Jesus says in the 8th chapter of the book of John, that you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning. He abode not in the truth because there's no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, Jesus said, he's a liar and the father of the lie. And Jesus said that his word had no place in the Jews. Read John starting with the 8th chapter, starting with the 31st verse, down to the 44th verse. And when I say Jesus up here, I'm not talking about no blonde-haired, blue-eyed, pale-skinned, buttermilk complexion, white Jesus. I'm talking about a black Jesus that the Bible says would have nappy hair and his body would be like burnt bronze or brass as though it had been burnt in an oven. Give the white man his white Jesus back, put it in the garbage can, set it out on the corner, and let the garbage man pick it up and take it to the garbage dump. It's a form of spiritual genocide, a form of mental genocide and Holocaust. 40 to 50 million Holocaust survivors still in the death camps of America, still in the ghettos of America, still robbed of our names with Harry McGillicuddy, Jim Dandy O'Houlihan, Abraham Lincoln Culpepper, Hattie Mae hamburger with lettuce and tomatoes on the side. Robbed completely of a knowledge of ourselves. No other people in the annals of time have been so robbed and spoiled. The Bible said these are a people who are robbed and spoiled. They are snared in holes and hidden in prison houses. But we must rise up like Ra. Rise up like Ra. Take on a new life and take on a new birth. I say I criticize the Pope. I don't have any respect for the Pope. The hell you mean I called him a cracker? So damn what? The Pope don't like me. The Pope does not respect my leader and teacher, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He has no respect for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and he is one of the perpetrators in our genocide and our current condition. You offer an apology? We're sorry. Everybody else gets reparation. Damn Jews get over 70 billion, over 100 billion. But you offer us, I owe you an apology. We are so sorry. No, use your influence to get reparations for us. Use your influence to ease the debt that is strangling and choking the life out of African nations from the World Bank and the IMF and the other MFs. You say, and this is the first time you heard from me on this, and I think you should at a Black Holocaust observance. Well, you called for the death of the men, the women, the children, and the babies. Hell, you had heard that here at Howard University long before King College. Killing our men, our women, our children, and our babies in South Africa. Have killed them over a long period of time. And so I call for my people to stand up and fight back. And you have a problem with that? Because I said that we don't owe the white man nothing in South Africa. We give him 24 hours to get out of town by Sunday. I don't respect the process. I don't respect the elections process. You don't break in my damn house, bum rush my house, black boots stomp my door down, and then one day I gain the power to take my house back, and now we gonna hold a vote. And I'm so silly, you take the west wing of the house, you can take this wing over here, and anytime a dispute comes up here, we will vote on it. One person in this house, one vote. That's a fool. No compromise in South Africa. We don't compromise with the white man in South Africa. You couldn't take America and then turn around and expect the white man to share it with you. Hell, he won't even share it with us when he promised us 40 acres and a mule in 1866 and then turned around and Andrew Johnson vetoed it. No Jew in here has to live under the yoke of bondage and oppression that we still live under and have lived under for the past 500 years. The first president of these United States, these United Snakes, I didn't call it that. Benjamin Franklin used to write in the newspaper. The flag, one of the early flags was a snake for America. When the Union was split, the snake was split up. And they talked about uniting the Union and putting the snake back together. So, and they said, don't tread on me. That was on your flag, white man. So I call you the United Snakes of America. Because that's exactly what it is. As I near my conclusion here, at the Jewish Holocaust Memorial, they talked about books that were a part of the education system under Hitler, and talked about a little book called The Poison Mushroom. Well, hell, we got a book called Little Black Sambo. You telling me about a damn poison mushroom? Little Black Sambo. Dick and Jane were white. The milkman was white. The mailman was white. Huh? The fireman was white. The policeman was white. Mama was white. Daddy was white. The only one that had any black was Spot, and he was black and white. You got the little poison mushroom, but we got Little Black Sambo and many other books that poison the minds of black people here in the hells of North America. I have a few more points here, and we should be able to close out. We remember Emmett Till. We remember Cheney. We remember the Scottsboro Boys, as they called it. We remember the churches that were bombed then, and your plot to bomb churches even today. We remember the Sunday school lesson in the church in Alabama being the love that forgives when you bomb the church. We witness Dela Beckwith, who killed Meredith, Evers, who killed Medgar Evers, brother Medgar Evers, and how long it took the so-called wheels of justice to finally get around because his widow, Sister Murley, didn't give up. But it's not justice for Dela Beckwith to go to prison. When we become a free and independent people, the only solution to the Dela Beckwith case would be that Dela Beckwith would be to be dead. That's the only way we can say that the blood of Medgar Evers is satisfied. We remember Birmingham. We remember Montgomery, Alabama. We remember the vicious dogs, and they showed this at the Jewish Holocaust Memorial, but we remember the vicious dogs that would actually leap into the chest of our women during these civil rights marches and bite their breast off, leap up into the groin of a black man and actually with sharp teeth bite his reproductive, regenerative organ off. Yes. We remember your cattle prods and your water hoses turning the water pressure loose on us. No Holocaust greater than this one. Don't even try it. Brothers and sisters, after all of these lies, you deserve a break today. You deserve a break today. The white man has a frequent liar program. There's a frequent liar program, and he's always going to lie. But we must now document our own history. And as Dr. John Henry Clark has warned us, that we are the only people who have no monuments, no memorials set up for our dead, for our pain, for our suffering. So now these bootlicking Negroes in the CBC, the Congressional Black Caucus, who stood up to condemn me in the United States Congress, the first time in the history of the world that the United States Congress, and I got the congressional record and looked at the debate that went on. Don Edwards from California took to the floor, they say, like James Madison, come back to life. And he warned Tom Lantos, the Jew, so-called Jew congressman from California who put the resolution on the floor. They warned them, if you do this, then the United States Congress is flying in the face of the First Amendment. Never before has the United States Congress condemned officially as an act of Congress one of its so-called citizens. The benchmark case of Justice Douglas in Taramello versus Chicago 1949 laid the base for what the white folks call free speech, but you can see it's not worth the paper that it's written on. The Senate condemned me 97-0. So we, Dr. Jeffries, want to bring our case against the Senate and against the Congress with their own law and violation of that law themselves, and go after them that way, for we believe that we have strong grounds to stand on. So brothers and sisters, let us go forth from here, and as we go forth from here, let us build a greater cohesiveness and unity and love among ourselves. Let's build brotherhood, sisterhood, friendship and fellowship and sistership and brothership, and get rid of the bullshit. I didn't say that other word. Let's get rid of the nigger mess and pull together and get away from this division and disunity that keeps us bowing at the feet of our enemy and oppressor who divides us and has conquered us and has put us in this condition. Brothers and sisters, I thank you for being as attentive as you have been. And I want you to stand just for a minute. Just stand for a minute. Don't leave. Everybody hold your position. I'm not. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has asked that we extend his greetings and support to Dr. Jeffries, to Dr. Martin, to Dr. Steve Coakley, to Brother Malik Zulu Shabazz, and everyone in attendance here tonight. And I want to extend that to all of you here tonight as I just received this note from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Let's give him a hand. Please hold your positions. Please hold your positions. We have one important thing that must be done, but I want to close this segment out. Put your black fists in the air. Everyone, put your fists in the air. We're going to close out my segment with 7 Harambe's. Harambe, as Dr. Maulana Karenga has taught us, means let us all pull together. It's only a demonstration, but we go 6 times, Harambe. We go back up, Harambe. But on the 7th one, we hold it, Harambe. All right, black fist in the air. Every time we bring this big black fist down, we're bringing it down on disunity. Every time we bring it down, we're bringing it down on the boot-licking, butt-licking, buck-dancing, bamboozled Uncle Toms. Every time we bring this big black fist down, we're bringing it down on apathy so that we will stand up and do that which will bring us freedom and independence in accord with God's law. On the count of 3, Jali 2, Harambe, 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 Harambe. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Please be.
Is that OGJAYSPEED? Negro, please. He's putting that knowledge in. Seasons on these YouTube streets. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? OGJAYSPEED. Lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you will see. Yeah. Damn, my brother. OG, one and only, one and only, one and only. You don't own me, you don't. I'm free, I'm free. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my brother. OG, I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, why can't you see? I'm the one who's at peace. You having so many problems because you don't understand, because you're not free. The ancestors died for you and me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. Negro, please, can't you see I got that African in me? African in me. You're trying to find your way, but I'm a peace. Negro, please, Negro, please, Negro, please. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe, your brother OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe your brother OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey.
OGJ say, Negro, Negro, please. He's putting that season on me. Damn, that's OG. Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets? A lot of wisdom in him. When he start talking, you gon' see one and only, one and only, one and only. Don't know me because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man. OG. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. OG. One and only. Yeah. One and only. One and only. Don't know me. Yeah. OG. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. OG. Because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my man. Oh man. One and only. Yeah. One and only. One and only. Don't know me. One and only. One only.
So this is a African leader they trying to kill now.
I'm the one who's at peace.
And it's only because he ran France out of Africa, who was sucking the resource as they did in Haiti and was paid reparation. There's a extreme difference in the brother on the left and the brother on the right. How long are we gonna put up with people who consistently keep us from self-determination? How long? We act as these things is not happening. It's okay for us to talk about current events, who's sleeping with who, who's getting sued, what the president is doing. But we got to keep our eye on what's happening here. I've been seeing stories about this brother on the right-hand side. He'll run around the world and even accepted the black people should take advantage of the resources in Africa. Instead of him going out and buying guns first, he bought farming equipment so they could be self-sufficient. Kick that devil out of his land. And now they're trying to kill him. Been several attempts on his life. I'm supposed to do this show on the 28th, but they're a little ahead of schedule. They got this bootlicking, shuffling brother on the left-hand side, Marine Corps, 4-star general. Maybe he's 5-star now. Looked like he was testifying in the Senate or the Congress in the last couple of days. Looked like he was on the drugs. To kill this man on the right-hand side. I want you to share this video. I ain't trying to be famous, but I'm so damn tired of our leaders being killed regardless of where we at. This group of people don't have the right to stop us from self-determination. So I'm going to ask this group, you think the only thing we can be is slaves? And take commands from you? Y'all tried that slick shit ever since we've been here. But as long as I got a voice, I'm going to say the devilish things you doing. You can't scare me. And that's been ever since 1990. I've been on the FBI, CIA. That man that you seen, Dr. Colley, I carried him around for 7 years in California. I got the receipts. You didn't scare me then, and you ain't scaring me now. I'm going to tell what I see. Now, some of these other goofballs can be reporting on whatever they want to report. But I'm going to report whatever I see you do. See, this is why I don't trust nobody in the military. You seen what Colin Powell did. Went and told that lie. And we try to make an excuse for him. He didn't know what he was doing. He know what he was doing. You don't be a general in the armed forces and not know what you're doing. They killed over 1 million people over there. Women, children, and babies. And we don't say nothing about it. I'm tired. This evil devil wants to keep us under his rule. That ain't happening. Because people are raising up all over this planet against your evil ways. You don't get to rob Africa, the continent, of its resources. It's just like Dr. Henry Clark said. Ain't one of them ever came to the continent of Africa and meant us any good. And they still up to their tricks today. So you see what they're doing over there. Why you think
Spit.
they ain't doing the same thing to you here?
He's putting that knowledge in.
Peace and love, SPWD Speed.
Who the hell is he? Why is he in these YouTube streets?
And always strive for the truth. Everybody have a rest of an amazing day. Thank you for coming through, sharing your time. Please share the video, thumbs up, whatever, thumbs down, whatever you, but share it. Okay, I'm out of here.
OG, one and only, one and only, one and only. You don't own me, you don't. I'm free, because you're trying to find your way. I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, my brother. OG, I'm the one who's at peace. Negro, please, why can't you see? I'm the one who's at peace. You having so many problems because you don't understand, because you're not free. The ancestors died for you and me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. System of white supremacy, keeping you from being like me. Negro, please, can't you see I got that African in me? African in me. You're trying to find your way, but I'm a peace. Negro, please, Negro, please, Negro, please. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe, your brother OG, Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African in me, African in me, African in me, African in me. Hey. Why can't you see? Why can't you see? Believe your brother OG. Negro, please, can't you see? I got that African